Good day, everyone! So today, let's talk about the historical context of the Filipino grievances against Governor Leonard Wood.
So, let's start.
So when the Americans arrived in 1898, Filipinos began demanding for independence. To pacify them, U.S. officials like Francis Burton Harrison allowed Filipinos to hold key government positions under the Jones Law of 1916, which promised independence once a stable government was formed. Filipino leaders, led by Manuel Quezon and Sergio Osmeña, took this as a significant achievement. They hoped to convince the U.S. that they were ready for independence through competent governance.
What is the Jones Law of 1916? The Jones Law of 1916 is an act to declare the purpose of the people of the United States as to the future political status of the people of the Philippine Islands, and to provide more autonomous government for those islands. It is signed by President Woodrow Wilson on August 29, 1916. It is also known as the Philippine Autonomy Act. Here's a little background of Francis Burton Harrison. He served as the U.S. Governor General of the Philippines from 1913 to 1921. He is the only former Governor General of the Philippines to be awarded Philippine citizenship. Governor Leonard Wood is a United States Army Major General, became the military governor of Cuba from 1898 to 1902, and then Governor General of the Philippines from 1921 to 1927. He is also responsible for 5 districts and the commanding general of the troops in the Department of Mindanao and Sulu.
However, the defeat of the Democrats in the 1920 presidential election had devastating effects on the Filipinos' aspiration for independence. In 1921, President Warren Harding sent Leonard Wood and William Cameron Forbes to the Philippines to determine whether the country was ready for independence. The team conducted a comprehensive investigation and visited 48 provinces and 449 municipalities. The Wood-Forbes mission provided a detailed inquiry, but the report they submitted presented a sharp criticism of the Filipino leadership for systemic corruption and ineffectiveness of the government. The report, especially regarding the handling of public lands and banks, shocked the Filipino leaders, which exerted pains to prove their ability to govern. It exposed corruptions and favoritism in government-owned corporations during the Harrison era, leading to tensions between the American administration and Filipino leaders.
William Cameron Forbes served as a Governor General of the Philippines from 1909 to 1913 and Ambassador of the United States to Japan from 1930 to 1932. He focused on infrastructure development, public health, and education during his tenure, contributing to the modernization of the Philippines. Fostered better relations between the United States and the Philippines, promoting cultural understanding and cooperation.
After Leonard Wood retired from U.S. Army in 1921, President Harding appointed him Governor General of the Philippines. Initially, Filipino politicians did not oppose his appointment because they believed Wood would only return to the U.S. after a short time. But Wood decided to stay in the Philippines and remained Governor General until he died in 1927. His style of governance was very rigid and highly interventionist. He started rolling back the autonomy given to Filipinos under Harrison and went on to enforce reforms that renewed the powers of the Governor General. Leadership in the style of Wood announced a return to a stronger control by the Americans, which made the local politicians in the Philippines look frustrated because they had just started enjoying greater freedom. As years went on, the situation went from bad to worse and ultimately launched in the cabinet crisis of 1923.
The crisis emerged amid severe hyperinflation and economic distress in post-World War I Germany, undermining public confidence in the Weimar Republic and leading to a fragmented political landscape. In November 1923, Chancellor Wilhelm Kuhnel resigned due to his government's inability to address the ongoing economic crisis, highlighting the instability and lack of support for the current administration.
The anti-Wood sentiment of Filipino politicians broke on July 21, 1923, and the event that triggered it was the decision of Wood to reinstate Ray Conley, the chief of the vice squad of the Manila Police Force, who was accused of receiving money from gambling lords. This, together with the refusal of Wood to accept the declarations issued by local officials, placed the protracted conflict among Filipino leaders and Wood's government deeper into the ground. In 1923, a major crisis occurred when the key officials of the country resigned from their offices in protest against the system implemented by Wood.
Top-notchers in the country, such as Manuel Quezon and Sergio Osmeña, attributed Wood's garrisons and total disregard of the rights provisioned in the Jones Act of 1916 as reason for their resignation. Wood tried to make changes with them, however, his proposals were ignored, and he had no choice but to accept their resignation and appoint their alternates. About the text, Wood acknowledged in his diary that the Conley case was merely a pretext. A significant concern was Wood's issuance of Executive Order No. 37, which abolished the Board of Control established by former Governor General Francis Burton Harrison. In addition to Executive Order No. 37, more than 20 other grievances were raised, with Wood's being characterized as arbitrary, oppressive, and undemocratic. The resolution concluded by appealing to the American public to support Filipino political rights. And that's all for the historical context of the Filipino grievances against Governor Leonard Wood. Thank you so much.